Hey guys, how we doing today? Welcome. Welcome to Piano Tech Radio. Good to see you. Hey there, Britt. Good to see you. Nancy, Alan, Corral, Larry, Russell, Johan, Mark. Good stuff. Good to have you all here. It's going to be a fun one today. We're going to mix and match some really cool stuff on the same topic. And I will dive into it pretty soon here. So let me just give a quick intro. And then let me give myself a spotlight so you can see me more clearly. Yeah, as I let people in, I'll just give an overview of what we're doing here today. Of course, you found yourself once again or for the first time at Piano Tech Radio Hour. And, what we do here each week is we get together, and we've got a little bit of a theme of kind of improvement and expansion within the piano industry. We gather here every Saturday. We we learn from the most fascinating and knowledgeable folks in the piano world. This includes manufacturers, rebuilders, musicians, makers of other instruments, piano techs, and more. Our mutual goal is to become better at our craft, to help each other, and to create an ever more musical world together. Piano Tech Radio Hour is brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses, an online learning resource that brings you cutting-edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. You can also check us out as a podcast. We're releasing archival episodes as a podcast, audio only, of course, at pianotechradio.com. And we've seen a lot of great evidence that you guys are paying attention, and our audience is building there. We continue to have more and more downloads every month, and are rising in the rankings in various countries. We're in the top 100. We've been in the top 100 of performance art podcasts and on Apple, the United States, and even higher rankings in countries like Norway or Belgium or Spain. So we're all over the map, and it's great to be able to connect with you guys throughout the world. So I'll give a brief introduction to the session today, and then I'll do a share screen, and then I'll just add some comments in the chat about any other stuff I wanted to update you guys. The topic of today is kind of going to be this sort of damper, trap work, back action, pedal kind of theme. And what I thought I would do is something kind of fun. We just had our lecture with Joe Jackson out of St. Louis, and he's a very prolific piano guy there who started, like most of us, as just just one guy running around tuning pianos, and he's built an operation with over 20 different staff members. They do moving, they do sales, and they go throughout the country. And so he's built up a wealth of knowledge, and he wanted to cover this topic of dampers and so forth, because it really can remain quite mystical to a lot of folks. And so what we're going to do is we're going to share some clips of that, but what we're going to do is we're going to intermix it with some clips of a past lecture we had with Steve Brady. Steve Brady, of course, author of Under the Lid, and very well respected in the piano industry, has had a great career. And he has also done a lecture with us previously on a similar topic. And so what I'm going to do is just bring in a few clips from both of those lectures, and sort of, somewhat related. The clips will be, I think I created some nice transitions, but I think, the goal here is to encourage you to dive in deeper and find out more, while at the same time gaining some valuable knowledge just by tuning in today. So for those folks that are tuning on YouTube and Facebook, we will stop the live stream early. So if you wanted to finish with us, you'll have to jump on to the Zoom call. We'll put a link in the chats about how to do that. And without further ado, I'll head on over into the lectures, and we'll take it from there, and I'll communicate more in the chat. So let me get that going. And then you guys will just let me know if you experience any audio or video issues, and I'll optimize accordingly. Sometimes we have issues that need resolution, but I think I've got everything set up all right. All right, here we go.
Part 1A, regulating the damper pedal. Now this seems like a pretty straightforward thing, and something that most of us do pretty much every day, but I want to get into some of the subtleties of how the damper pedal should be regulated. And the first thing is, if you're working on a vertical, you want to regulate the damper lift with the pedal first, and regulate the damper lift with the key second. So if you have dampers that aren't lifting evenly with the pedal, you want to take care of that first. And that's because we regulate the damper lift with the pedal on a vertical by bending the damper wires. So here's a little video. I'm going to reach in, and I have one that's lifting late here, and I'm just going to push it back towards the strings to make it lift a little later, or a little earlier. Oh, I guess I said that wrong. Okay, lifting early. So I'm going to push it back with my finger and make it lift later. Okay, now here's another look at the same process. That one's lifting too late, so I'm going to make it earlier by just sticking my finger down there and bringing the, bending the damper wire. You have to bend pretty hard, but it's a very simple procedure. I'll show that again. Okay, so the point here is that on a vertical, you've got to do this job before the lift with the keys, because you regulate lift with the keys by bending a spoon. And if you bend the spoon, it's also going to affect the lift with the pedal. So that's just an important point to consider on verticals. Now on grand pianos, you do it the opposite way. You regulate the damper lift with the keys first, and then regulate the damper lift with the pedal second. In both cases, I regulate the pedal, allowing up to 1/4 inch of lost motion in the pedal, measured at the front of the pedal. I wouldn't want more lost motion than that, but this is kind of a personal thing, and some pianists prefer a really instantaneous pickup, and some like to have quite a bit of play. But I think up to 1/4 inch measured at the front is a good way to go. On a grand piano, the right way to regulate lost motion in the pedal is usually going to be by shimming under the back end of the pedal. That's because that's where most of the wear occurs, or most of the compression occurs. And we have adjustments at the top of the pedal rod. And yes, if it's a new piano and you notice that adjustment nut at the top has kind of worked its way down, sure, yeah, go ahead and bring that back up to where it was originally and lock it in nice and tight. But other than that, on older pianos, what you want to go do is shim under the back end of the pedal. This is really an extreme case, and I think both of the other pedals need the same treatment. But it's this pad under here that's getting compressed over the years by the weight of the pedal. Okay, important point about regulating the pedal. Both the pedal and the keys should lift the dampers the same amount, resulting in separation between the damper felts and the strings of about 1/8 inch. With the pedal fully depressed, and first I'm going to show you this is the amount of separation that you should be looking for. So if your keys aren't lifting the dampers this high, then you need to adjust the damper lift with the keys, and then do it with the pedal. Once the pedal is regulated, fully depressed, the dampers should just wink when you play the keys. Okay, and so you stop the motion of the damper trap lever. Usually there's a piece of felt here on Steinways. On a lot of other pianos, there will be a nice adjustment screw. So whatever it takes, you stop the travel of the pedal at the point where you get this effect. And here's a little video. So I've got the pedal pressed all the way down, and I'm going to play the keys now. And I want to see just a little winking. That indicates to me that the pedal is lifting the dampers the same amount as the keys. And you notice there's quite a bit of nice separation between the damper felts and the strings. That's exactly what you want to see.
Right now, today, we put 3 examples on their side for us to look at. One is a Steinway M, the other one is a Yamaha G1, and the last is a Baldwin R. Those are very typical pianos you see out in the field. Kawai and a Mason Hamlin, those are very popular as well. So are Samix and Young Chains. They're all going to be similar. And when we get into some of these other classes, we'll go deeper into the differences on those other brands. But right now, let's just start with the Steinway M. We're going to take a look at the trap work and talk about how the pedal goes on and what happens with the trap work. So this is the lyre for a Steinway, okay? It is a locking cam lock, okay? So it comes along on modern Steinways now. This has been replaced with a come-to. So it is not a cam lock with a locking plate any longer. But that's not until the last, whatever, 10 or so years. Up until that point, from the last 100+ years, this is what a Steinway is going to look like on the bottom. So the lyre on this model goes into that groove and backwards, okay? You can see that it's larger and smaller to match, so it can fit into this larger area, and it goes deep into the back area where it shrinks, and it's also concaved, so it brings it up and tight, okay? Now, the trick with these, with Steinways, is always getting this on and the pedal supports on at the same time. The trick with that is really to get the pedal supports on, get the edge of this guy in there, lock it in place, and catch all of that all at once. We'll go into that one deeper. And when we get into a class on the pedals and the lyre, we will show you how to do that, okay? That's a really important one, because when these come off, if you don't know how to put a Steinway on, you can spend a really long time trying to get it on and then eventually giving up, because it can be really frustrating. Now, this is an old world Steinway that does not have an adjustable push rod. Okay, so we go into the trap work. We're going to start from this side. This is your shift pedal, okay? So when you get underneath it, the shift pedal goes back and forth like this, and it actuates an arm on the inside that pushes the action towards the treble. The next pedal over is your sostenuto, okay? It's a push style, meaning you actuate it here and it pushes this pitman up, and that pitman will push the monkey of the sostenuto, because on a Steinway, we all know the sostenuto up until recently was on the action, okay? So this arm actuates this arm goes into the push, and it pushes it up into the monkey. Sorry, I went backwards here. Now, the final one is your sustain, all right? Now, your sustain, you've got, on most pianos, you're going to find this L-shaped bolt. And what this is for is so when you move the piano, you don't need this when the piano has the action on. This is strictly for moving, okay? If you see this, do not adjust this up to the point where it's touching. This is only to catch it. And the reason for that is that if this pops open, this spring disappears and this pitman disappears. All right. So whenever you're moving a piano, you want to make sure that this L is in place so you don't lose it. Now, on this one, the lyre pedal actuates this arm. It has this spring, coil spring inside of it that gives you the reverse push, and your pitman goes up and down into the tray and lifts the tray up from the inside. All right, I'm going to put this back on. So you've got your shift pedal, your sostenuto pedal, and your sustain pedal. Now, areas that wear out frequently are the pad on the top. You also, again, have another pad in here that's crucial. And you've got a pad inside of here for the here and here for the spring. If those aren't in good repair, you will get squeaking. Okay. You also have a heavy block of wood. Of felt. This felt is actually hammer felt. So these blocks here that you see, these white ones that are dense like that, those are remnant hammer material. Okay. You can't just use any old felt. You really need a dense felt. And this is the leftover material from when they make hammers. All right. Now that is what the underside of a average Steinway looks like, barring the last 10 years. Now, the next one we're going to move over to is a Baldwin. Okay. So in a Baldwin, we typically have a locking system that's going to be machined bolts. All right. Baldwin typically put bolts on the inside of their lyres so you can't lose the bolt. All right. Now they're factory set. If you see that bolt in there, do not adjust it up and down unless you're having a problem where this bolt is proud of the lyre. Okay. Now this one would go on like this, and those bolts will lock in place. The easiest way to do this one is to get those bolts in partly and then put your lyre support in. Okay. Again, we'll go deeper into that one on a different class. Now, this one does not have adjustable push rods either. I really like the adjustable push rods, but this is just a standard length. Now, on the underside of this, you can see that a Baldwin has these blocks here, and these are for shipping to protect the trap work. Okay, Steinway does not have that kind of stuff. Baldwin does. That's what these are for. They serve to protect the trap work so the trap work doesn't get damaged when you move the piano. Now on the Baldwin, you've got your shift pedal here, just like in the Steinway. Okay, one of the differences that you typically will see with Baldwins is you have an adjusting screw here. Okay, this adjusting screw is so you can get your access to your pin that goes through it. All right, so if for some reason you've got a shift pedal that's giving you problems, always check to make sure that this locking pin is locked in place. Some other things that are different with Baldwin is Steinway puts on the sostenuto, puts the reverse power on the monkey inside. Okay, the monkey pushes back against everything. Baldwin actually has a spring here, and it's a push-pull style underneath that goes into a sostenuto system that's built into the belly of the piano. What did you say?
That was a sustain.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at something. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a sustain. Okay, so this is the sustain, and this is pinned through. Start over again real quick. When you take a piano and you flip it upside down, you start getting backwards and stuff. So Steinway, on their sustain pedal, their spring is back here, and Baldwin puts a spring here. Now, notice that you don't have an L on this. You don't need it with this one because on Baldwins, they would quite often pin the push-pull rod to the arm and then to the tray on the inside. So inside of the piano, it's pinned like this as well. That makes it to where this cannot break free and this spring won't go anywhere at any point. Okay, that's a big difference between Steinway and Baldwin. Now, then we move over to the sostenuto, and on this Baldwin, the sostenuto is a pull style. Okay, now the Steinway is a push style. It pushes the pitman up and to the monkey, and then that actuates it. On this ball, it's a pull style. You push your pedal down and it pulls down on the knife on the inside that's built into the belly. Okay. And then you've got a spring underneath here. And these are all areas that are rife for squeaking and making noises. And, you know, we'll get into all that later. Another point is you can see Baldwin, just like in this, the shift, it's got a set pin on the inside. Okay. So if you're going to try to get in here, you may have to loosen this up to get this pin out of there. Okay. So that's a Baldwin. And now we're going to come over to a Yamaha. All right, so Yamaha, here's the lyre, same kind of thing. Yamaha's changed a number of things in time, so pretty much all the manufacturers. This is a Mickey Mouse style, where it's built into it. Same thing, it's got a threaded plate on the inside that doesn't allow this to drop down. This goes into a steel plate that goes across the bottom of the Yamaha. It has adjustable push rods, and now here we go into the pedal system. Now, shift pedal, same as the other ones pretty much, except this shift pedal is a lot thinner and smaller than the other shift pedals, and it's compensated with this guide, okay? Now, that guide, if it's worn out, can make a noise. No set pins on this. Same premise, pushes it, goes in, shifts the piano over. Now, let's see if I can avoid mixing this up. Here is our sostenuto. Nope. Sorry. Oh, sorry, I'm back here. Here's our sustain again. I'm sorry. I am dyslexic, and this upside down stuff is really driving me crazy. So again, we've got a stop. All right. So if you're moving this thing, if you're dealing with this, make sure that's engaged before you flip it on its side. Here's our pitman. Now on this model, the pitman and the spring are incorrect. That shouldn't be there. The pitman goes up through the hole. The spring should have been loaded right here. I don't know who put that on there. That's a little bit crazy. Now, it's really common when you see a pitman like this with the pins on the top and the bottom. It's really common that this pin will get trapped on the outside of the damper lift tray. Okay, and the common sign that has happened is that you go there and they say, they moved the piano and nothing stops playing. Everything's ringing out. It's because this is pushing the whole damper system up. That will happen, or it'll get trapped on the outside and nothing happens. They go to press the pedal and nothing works.
So brief pause there. I'm just going to shift to another part of Steve Brady's lectures. Give me 1 second here. Welcoming some other folks as well. Let's see here. Where's this? There we go. All right, let me pull that up.
I want to talk a little bit about nomenclature, just so that when I say the name of a certain part, you'll know what I'm talking about. Because I know in our field, people call the different parts by a lot of different names. So very important part is the underlever down here. Another really important part is this vertical part called the top flange. So when I say top flange, this is what I'm talking about. The damper wire goes into the top flange, and in most cases, in modern pianos, it's secured there by a set screw. You also have the damper upstop rail. You have a sostenuto rod, which is right here, and the sostenuto monkey. Now, the last thing on that slide was when the sharps are fully depressed, there should be about 1/16 of an inch of freedom at the damper upstop rail. And I have a little video here to show that.